whole video is of them researching the symbolism of snakes before I get a snake tattoo. Learning that almost every pre-colonial culture worshipped snakes as a symbol of knowledge, creation, rebirth. The Abrahamic religions changed the narrative by telling us that snakes were demonic, with one exception. Some Gnostics believe that the snake in the Garden of Eden was actually the essence of Christ consciousness. Why does the Bible say, "Do not worship any god but me, for I'm a jealous God"? Yahweh is Yaldabaoth, the demiurge.
Just to be clear, these are the statistics of the amount of Palestinian casualties. This is an ethnic cleansing. The source is the United Nations. If you want to understand why I, as a Black person, have complete solidarity and stand with Palestinians, it's because I recognize that what is happening right now is comparable to the Haitian Revolution, the Battle of Algiers. Liberation is not pretty. But if you are comparing a resistance group of an oppressed people that is experiencing an ethnic cleansing and apartheid and lives in a militarized police state to the violence inflicted upon them by said police state, Israel is backed by the US military and is heavily armed with advanced weaponry. Stand with Palestine or be on the wrong side of history.
When my internal monologue gets so loud, I have to break the fourth wall by making a video directly addressing the audience.
But I've gotten to the point. You should know this too.
The GoFundMe
This is a mutual aid
Help
request.
Aiko,
One of my followers,
Eastern,
Aiko,
fight
reached
colon
out to
cancer.
me and
Please either
unfortunately
donate
told
it or
me
share the
that they were
GoFundMe.
diagnosed with colon cancer. They are unable to work due to this diagnosis and the severity of it. So if any of you could donate to their fight against colon cancer, it would be greatly appreciated. This is very urgent, and anything that you can donate will help. I'm going to link their account, and you can go to their link tree and find the GoFundMe.
I wanted a platform to inspire revolutionary action, but I am now realizing most people engaged in this type of work are chronically offline.
All that work, and what did it get me? Why did I do it?
Okay, let's have the talk about violence. Someone was sharing this on my For You page, and it's really good information, so I figured I'd share it. I'm going to tag the person down below. So here's how people think nonviolent protest works, right? People peacefully protest. They don't really know what happens, but then magically, political change occurs. Think of how we're taught about the civil rights movement. We see the sit-ins and protests peacefully organizing, and then magically our civil rights were granted. Now here's the reality of what happens. There's no such thing as a nonviolent protest. People peacefully protest, they are targeted and brutalized by the police, and then the general population witnesses that brutalization, gets enraged, and then there is a threat of riots or revolt. And in order to appease the general population, the government concedes to the demands of the protesters. This means that
political change always has and always will occur through violence. The only question is who the violence is being inflicted upon. What the privileged don't realize is that by only supporting nonviolent resistance, they aren't wishing for nonviolence. They are asking us to inflict violence upon ourselves to gain sympathy
to the demands of the protesters. This means that there is no such thing as a nonviolent protest. Nonviolent protesters go in with the knowledge that they will be brutalized by the police and that the state has a monopoly on violence. It is a demonstration, a theatric of being abused in order to gain sympathy from the general public. So when someone says, I only support peaceful protests, what they really mean is I only support protests in which protesters allow themselves to be publicly brutalized in hopes that their suffering will inspire pity from the masses. Examples of throughout history of acceptable violence:
The American Revolution, the colonization of North America, Christopher Columbus, Spanish colonizers, discovering the New World, i.e., committing genocide against indigenous peoples, U.S. military ventures worldwide, police murders of unarmed black people,
violence, and examples of unacceptable violence.
protesters burning, destroying property, people fighting against U.S. Western military intervention in their own countries, colonized people revolting against colonial governments, revolts of enslaved people, Native people defending their lands.
However, I think we have gotten to a point as a society where the masses are desensitized to the violence inflicted by the state. We are so used to seeing protesters brutalized that it has become expected and even glorified the violence of the police. So I honestly think that it is the time to turn the narrative around and to stop with the nonviolent protests and to try something different. I think that the coffee revolution is a great idea, and I'm really interested to see where things go. So for those of you that don't know, Angie is a creator on here who pitched the idea of basically making posts titled Coffee Revolution, tagged Coffee Revolution, and trying to meet up with other people in your area that are, you know, like-minded revolutionary thinkers and get a cup of coffee with the intention of eventually, you know, creating some plan for mutual aid. However, I am slightly concerned about the risk of infiltration. And Angie said, you know, this isn't a problem because we're not doing anything illegal, right? Mutual aid is enough to get you in trouble. Like, you don't have to necessarily be doing anything illegal for the cops to harass you. So a lot of this is going to be interesting to see, because with stuff like this, it has the potential of turning into direct action that is revolutionary. Like, Angie doesn't have control over what these groups do. So if I were to go to a coffee shop in Yonkers here and meet with somebody, if you want to meet up with me in Yonkers and do this coffee revolution, we could do it. But if I were to meet up in a coffee shop in Yonkers, I'm going to be talking about certain things that I wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily talking with a stranger, because you have to vet people to make sure that they're not, you know, cops. So it's interesting. It's interesting. There's hope here. There's potential. But like I said, this can be infiltrated very quickly. Could never be a martyr. My life was never valuable enough. No one mourns the wicked, and our bodies pile up. I could never sing for peace as they wage an endless war. I won't meet them with flowers when they come armed at my door. I risk my life because it's all I have. Not enough money to risk anything else. I risk my life because it's all I have. Not enough money to risk anything else.
Down, gave you a mic and said for the next 60 seconds, whatever you say, every human is gonna.
All of my heroes were classified as terrorists. The Black Panthers, Assata Shakur, Nelson Mandela. What you have to understand is that we are living through unprecedented times. Fascism is on the rise, and what is happening in Palestine will be at our doorstep at some point. So if you are ever wondering what you would do in a situation like Nazi Germany, you now have the opportunity to do something before it gets worse. I know that I am asking a lot. I know that this is something that is scary when you're really faced with putting your own life on the line, but this is the only way that change has ever occurred. Oppressors only understand the language they speak, so we need to start speaking it. These strikes and these boycotts are not enough. They're going to call me a doomer for this, but can we be real for a second? The real danger of AI technology is how it's going to be used by the state as the world becomes more and more fascist. We live in a surveillance state here in the US, and we all know that fake DNA has been used to incriminate people, right? That police plant drugs and DNA on certain people in order to incriminate them with crimes, right? We all know about the FBI's involvement in the assassination of revolutionary leaders, and we all know how evil our government can get. So this AI technology is being used to collect biometric data about us. Apps like TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat are collecting your voice and your likeness. In the future, these things can be used to create deepfakes that are indistinguishable from yourself. It can be a video of you saying or doing something that would be incriminating that they can use in court. And I hear you saying, well, they wouldn't do that. Would they? Would they? Okay, let's have the conversation about impersonation and imitation. So people have been reaching out to me telling me that there are accounts impersonating me, right? Now, these accounts have thousands of followers, and they show up when you look for my username. They're essentially just reposting my videos, knowing that they won't get to the For You page. So you may be wondering, what exactly is the point of this account if none of the videos go on the For You page? I mean, yeah, they gain followers by following my followers, and my followers following them back thinking it's an alternative account, but what's really the point? The point is to archive all of my videos so that it's on the internet against my own consent. And if I ever decide to delete this account or delete the video, there's still a record of it. This is a way of tracking people. This is a way of monitoring people. It's stalking. And it's honestly very scary because if I was ever to delete this account, they would still have records of every video I made. Now, if I was just a tarot reading account, this would probably be less scary, but because I post extremely political and controversial content, this is pretty scary considering that, you know, if something were to happen, these videos are on here forever. I've obviously tried reporting the accounts. TikTok won't delete them, so there's really nothing I can do. I got into a huge argument with this person, Manaya, and you know, we reached a mutual understanding in the DMs and I thought everything was okay. Then she blocked me and changed her name to blackqueerliberation. So every time you look up my name, her name is right there. Like, that's not necessarily impersonation, but it's imitation. I'm going to take it as a form of flattery, but I know what she's trying to do. And it's sad, like, you know, whatever.
Art is meant to be political, but when you can't turn your brain off and consume media anymore, it's a stressful experience.
Is anyone else having a hard time consuming media nowadays because everything is extremely political in an extremely in-your-face way? Like, I watched Arcane for the first time today, and the Undercity, a class of subjugated people who breathe in toxic air, and a higher ruling class that exists in the sunlight and basks in all of their technology. A revolution that was squashed by stormtrooper-looking cops. So I'm like, okay, that's a little too much. Let me put on something else. I put on Invincible. Now, I watched the first season of Invincible, and we all know how that ended. I put on the second season of Invincible. Bro, the first 10 minutes are like an alternate reality, I guess, where the main character and his father take over the entire world under one authoritarian, fascistic rule and subjugate everyone.
What it feels like being forced to learn U.S. history every year since the 4th grade, as if history is changing. This is a stitch.
No! I know. I got it. I got the concept.
I think we know why you don't like history classes, because you clearly don't like learning your history. Like the connection between slave patrols during slavery in America and our modern policing system. Or the fact that the 13th Amendment that ended slavery was conditional. It didn't end slavery for any Black person who was convicted of a crime. So it's safe to say that mass incarceration is a legacy of slavery. It is a way of maintaining a subjugated racial caste that is the Black caste in America. This is why the war on drugs disproportionately affected Black people. This is why Black people are disproportionately killed by the police. And this is why we say ACAB, including your parents. A simple Google search would tell you that that Blue Lives Matter flag is an emblem of white nationalism, neo-Nazis, and the alt-right. Shame on you.
How to transcend the material world without substances. No borax, no glue.
You guys want to hear a delusional thought that keeps me up at night? So it's going to take some backstory. This guy is Aleister Crowley. He started his own religion called the Lemma. He studied tons of theology, Islamic mysticism, Gnosticism, but he had a special fascination with Egyptian gods. He believed in the concept of eons. Now, eons is a period of time that can be classified as relating to a certain god. Now, the first eon, according to Crowley, was Isis, in which the civilizations of that time, think Mesopotamia, were centered around a matriarchal society, and Isis being a feminine god, a goddess. However, after the eon of Isis, according to Crowley, came the eon of Osiris. Osiris is a masculine god, and you can see this in the patriarchal religions that formed during this eon. So think the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Here's where it gets interesting. So Crowley thought he was an incarnation of the god Horus, and that he was here to lead humanity into the next eon, the eon of Horus. Now, Horus is the child of Osiris and Isis, and is kind of like a rebellious child. You can see this with New Age spirituality and new religions popping up. It is a break from the structure of Osiris, the Abrahamic religions, and it's not necessarily matriarchal like the pre-colonial societies. Ready for my delusion? Okay, the next eon is the eon of Mot, according to Crowley. Now, Mot is the goddess of harmony, law, morality, and justice. What does that sound like? It sounds like the sign Libra. If you know anything about me, I have dedicated my entire life and this account to social justice, to liberation as a cause. Not only that, but I am extremely well versed in spirituality and esoteric knowledge, and I honestly think that I am an incarnation that was brought on Earth to bring about the next eon, which is the eon of Mot. So my mutual Leah, hopefully all of you know her, posted a very good video that really put everything into perspective for me when it came to this coffee revolution thing. I am not saying that there will ever be a way for us to organize that isn't incredibly dangerous. Organization in itself is putting your life at risk. But what I am concerned about is that when we say things like, let's start a revolution with a cup of coffee, and just brush away any concerns about safety, you're putting so many people into the line of fire that don't even know that there's a war going on. The comments that I've been getting on my videos are from liberals who don't have much experience with activism and organizing, which is fine. But a lot of you are willfully ignorant about the risks that are involved with organizing. I don't want you guys to think that I'm saying don't organize. All I'm saying is that if you are going to organize, there are safer ways to do it. I honestly believe that the organizations that already exist are safer, in my opinion, than meeting with a random stranger online. But if you want to meet with a random stranger online and you genuinely are willing to take that risk, I respect you so much. It's just my job as somebody who has friends that experience violence on a regular basis and know that people of color are disproportionately affected by this violence. It's my job to inform all of you what that risk is before you go in, because I'm not going to have it on my conscience when people start dying that I know could have been saved. Revolution is not pretty. It's not just coffee and kikiing. It's serious. And when you start getting involved in this stuff and you start seeing people die and you start seeing people get arrested and their lives ruined, you understand what things like this lead to. So I am 100% positive that the only way forward is revolution. And it's going to involve so much risk. But I want you all to know when you go into this that you are risking your life. And if you hear that and you say it's worth it anyway, then God bless you and may God protect you and protect all of us, because that's the energy we need.
Let me know if I'm tweaking, right? What is everyone so confused about with the coffee?
What I need y'all to understand about this coffee revolution thing is that it's not like going on a date on Bumble. When you use the hashtag coffee revolution, you're telling everyone that you are a revolutionary and where you live, what city you're in, right? Then people reach out to you and meet up with you to discuss revolutionary ideas. However, not everyone that reaches out to you is going to be like-minded individuals that are revolutionary and leftists. People are going to use this hashtag to find people and exploit them. Just like on Bumble, predators exploit their dating profile. People are going to exploit this hashtag. You could end up with a Proud Boy pretending to be a leftist, a Zionist pretending to be a leftist, a cop pretending to be a leftist. It's not just the feds, it's any bad actor, even people that just want to start violent stuff and are not even politically engaged can exploit this hashtag. So I need you guys to look into something called OPSEC, operational security. There are ways that you can protect yourself online and in person from ending up in a whole shitstorm. A lot of y'all aren't ready for the work that you are trying to do, and that's okay. But it's so much safer to just go to an organization that already exists, a mutual aid organization like Food Not Bombs or Justice for Palestine. Please look into your area and the organizations that already exist with people that have years of experience and know how to spot out bad actors and know how to spot out cops and Proud Boys and all of these things. It's so much safer than meeting with a stranger online who, in many cases, may just be exploiting you. Please look into OPSEC.
If you are interested in commissioning me to edit a video of yours, contact me on Fiverr at Dr. Two Skull.